So I picked up this here Warlock bronze for $100 at Bookman's, which it's a nice find. It's not too bad of a price for what it is. The the stickers are obviously an eyesore. Check that out. Highway Outlaw. So we're gonna clean her up and get the intonation right. Check this shit out. Look at that. You can here. Let me turn it around here. I plugged it all up and tried it out, and it was working just fine. Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? Fuck that shit. But just gotta get taken all apart and everything, and throw some new strings on there and the neck too. As there's your typical bronze Warlock neck. I don't remember if this is the older one or the new one. I think this is an older one, but you can tell because of I remember that the Warlock bronze did come with a devil head headstock, and I think those were the newer ones, about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Now we got I got her all plugged up, but we got a little repair to make. Got loose. The connection's still good, but it's just nuts a little loose in there. I have to pull that out. And check that out. $12 amp. $12 for a little lion. Of course, I'm in a little apartment. That's all I need. I don't need the fucking marshals up in here annoying the neighbors. I just mostly play with the headphones anyway. So, all right, we'll see what the damage is. Here's something else I forgot to show you. The volume knob working. We got scritchy scratchy, just a little bit. That's how you clean these. You just keep turning them until they. There, it goes away on its own. Sometimes when that happens, it's just because there's dust or grime or poop up in there that is. Just keep turning it, and if it doesn't go away, then you gotta pull it out and clean it out. But don't ever blow air in these. If you do take it out, don't ever blow air in them, because you're just gonna push the poop inside. So yeah, and if I need to, I'll have to clean them out. But always take like an electronics cleaner, and when you have the knobs off, you want to shoot it down so it pushes the crap out. Don't blow air up in the switches. Here's something else I thought of when I was loosening the strings up. This here is called a wraparound bridge, just for those of you who don't know. And it's pretty obvious why. It's because the strings go in the little holes on the bottom and they wrap around. It's, like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory, but these are, there we go, let's get this on there. You know, there's got those little things that you put on the you know, the little plastic crankers frickin' things. They're like $3 for a 2-cent piece of shit plastic. Those things are the biggest ripoff, I swear. They're like made of Happy Meal toy plastic, and it's you don't need them. If you're a professional and you know you're doing guitar repair, yeah, it comes in handy. But if you're just fucking around on your guitar, restringing it, you don't need that fucking thing. You don't need the little. I usually save my strings when I'm doing it. I've seen some people, they take like wire cutters and they just freaking go to town and cut them all up and take them off that way. But I usually save the old ones just in case, because I hate having to go out and buy new fucking strings just because I broke one. Particularly the high E on a BC Rich, you want to go with a 9 gauge, and these being 9s, these are thin as hell and they hurt your fingers like crazy. But yeah, 9 to 46 I would recommend for BC Riches. So we just pulled the strings out, and look at that. The screws are straight again for some reason. Check out why. Yeah, look at that. Loose as fuck. So obviously the dingus who had this before me, really, either they didn't put any thread locker in there, or look at that. I just pulled out freaking burrs out of that freaking thing. That's how you know your screws are screwed. So you can't tell if that came off of a nut, but most likely they came out from in there when they were making it. So a human being probably hasn't been in here for quite some time. I see that they put a little strippage on there using the wrong size frickin' flatheads. And this is common sense, folks. You got a big flathead, then use a big flathead screwdriver on them. Don't use your little jewelry screwdrivers on these frickin' things. But alright, so I want to clean that shit out. Get all of the burrs and shit out there. Not on that one, but we're gonna blow some air around, I guess. And this for the bridge itself. For those who don't know, obviously it holds it on there. You pull the strings out, you just slide it out, and then you can pop the bolts. So just in case, because this is a really popular guitar, and I'd hate to see somebody that, you know, bought this as like their first guitar and they don't know how to work on it. So alright, let's get the intonation set on this bitch. I just want to reiterate again, we're taking the back panel off here. Dingus over here, he's the name, that's the name of the guy who owned the guitar before me. His name was Dingus. Because he said, well, you can't see because of the light, but he always used the right size screws. If you got these kinds of Phillips head, don't use your freaking jewelry screws as a screwdriver, because you're gonna fuck it up. Here, I'll try to get it out now. Alright, these I pulled off of the humbuckers, but alright, here's what Dingus did. You can't see too well, but he fucked up the screws using a tiny little thing like this when he should have been using a thing like this. So for those who don't know, the size of your screwdrivers matter, and here's the big one for the bolts that go into the body for the bridge. Alright, let's continue pulling this up. Well, it's a lot better than I thought it'd be, because I figured that Dingus would have had everything kit and caboodled up in here, but I'm very surprised. It might even still be factory. Dingus didn't get his grubby hands up in there and weld up everything. Because, I mean, everything works just fine, but I still want to make sure that we get the potentiometers cleaned up so no scritchy scratchy whatsoever. So I'll pull those out, and I got one of the bridges off, or the humbuckers, and that was in a lot better condition than I thought too. I figured Dingus would have had a shitload of crumbs and bug carcasses, but it's actually pretty clean up in the cavity here. So let's pull the other one now. This is one time that you use the small screwdrivers. Go on the outside ones, because again, for most people it'll be common sense, but I just want to make sure that those who, and there are people out there that they have guitars, they can play guitar, but they've never worked on them. You should know how to restring your own guitar and basic maintenance like that. It's like cars. You can drive a car, but if you get a flat tire, then you better know how to change it on the side of the road. Break out the donut. You don't have to call roadside assistance. You don't have to be completely out of luck like that. At least have some basic knowledge. You don't have to go as far as shimming the neck and everything, but there's something else. The screws that hold the humbuckers in, these are for the neck, and these are for the bridge. So just notice the difference, that the bridge ones have that little straight part on there. So they're two different types, because these go longer into the body. So just keep that in mind when if you're taking yours apart. These screws here, these adjust the height of the humbucker to the strings. Difference between a pickup and a humbucker, for those who don't know. If you have one of these, like a Fender, that's a pickup. If you have two of them in one, that's a humbucker. The difference is that in the electrical world, one of these things cancels out the hum of the other one. So if you're on your bridge pickup on a Fender, there's 99% chance you're gonna have your frickin' shit really high. So look at this. What is that? What do you think that says? Somebody didn't know it. LL with like a TLL, or maybe? What do you think that says? Still, not too bad. It's dusty. It looks like just like the wood. So I doubt any human being's been up in there just to, which you don't need to, but you just want to make sure that you don't have any freaking bug carcasses or any kind of dust bunnies and that bullshit that up in your humbucker area. Even though they got the tape on there that keeps dust out and stuff, you just want to make sure at least every 5 years that you don't have some critters hiding in there. But yeah, not too bad. We'll get her cleaned up, and here's another one while I have this screwdriver out. Turn her around again. Oh, here's something else I want to show you while I have the camera rolling. So I'm gonna use So Dingus thought that it would be a good idea to cover up the damage with a Sharpie. He didn't even go for the nail polish. He just went straight to the Sharpie and freaking covered that up. But then again, when you have this many angles on a guitar, it's understandable. And plus, it's black, and so you're not gonna see them. The red ones, though, they come in red and silver and stuff. You'll see those. So here's where our little loosey goosey. Let's pull these ones out. and we'll see what they look like in there. Why it's so loose. That's what she said. Here we go. So we still got the wire soldered in okay, everything's fine there. Boy, I wish this camera would auto focus, but we got an easy fix. It's the nut just on the right side of the plastic part. You can see on there it's a little, just got to tighten the nut. It's like the world's easiest fix right there. So here's the thing, folks, is if something's broken or you're not sure, especially with if your knob is broken or something, well, it's usually something stupidly easy that you can fix in 5 minutes. It's this thing. You just pull it out. Oh, the nut's loose. You just tighten that up and you're good to go. So, for those who don't know, this is in Arizona. We got Bookman's here, and Bookman's is like a used bookshop. They got actually pretty big deal. They got a sports gear store just on its own, and they got this particular location that has like their music side of the store. So there's maybe we'll see one day, but all right, we're not done yet. Boy, I don't have an extra hand or anything, but I wanted to show you something else that I like to use. This is what it looks like when you have your cord plugged in. We got the nut tightened so it's not going anywhere. This gizmo, it's amp thing to a head jack phone, headphone jack, goodness. Just plug it in there, and everybody should have one of these guys. Everyone. Even if you don't use it, at least have it there. Is if you're gonna go jam with your friends or something, or what have you, you can also use this to plug your phone into it and play music as you're working on it. Which I got it going on the TV, but just plug this in. So plug your phone. You get one of these double-ended deals, and just plug it into the input. Throw it in there, and then you're good to go. These things come in handy. So we got this guy all buttoned up. Again, easy fix, but I'm gonna blow out the wood parts, and then we'll drop these electronics out, give them a good cleaning with the electronics cleaner, and then next we'll get to the neck. Jesus, look at that. It's sickening. It looks worse on the other side, but that's still, and this is factory. I'm confident nobody's ever pulled the neck off, but this probably just needs to be shimmed down here, up inside on the bottom of the neck. Just shim it up a little bit. Just freaking pull the sander out. Now, if you sand off too much, you can always, put like sandpaper, or in other cases, the material that they use for like those for sale signs, and just a little shim, put up in there, and it'll return it back up if you sand off too much. But yeah, this is a well-known thing for the bronze, especially because they put these together so quick that. But like I said, easy fix, and once this thing is good to go, we'll get the truss rod adjusted and make sure that everything's squared away there, and throw a new set of strings on. So we're getting there. She's just coming along slowly but surely. Alright, so here's something else that caught my attention. Let me get this out of the way. When you're tightening down your humbucker holder on screws, here's the amount of pressure that I put. Even though you can't see it very well. You screw it down until you can feel it set, and then just turn it just a little bit, just like a quarter turn, just enough where it puts enough pressure to hold it in there for a couple years, but you don't have to mash the freaking things down in there. So here's what I noticed is maybe the necks aren't fucked up as bad as they appear to be, but they are still pretty bad. I was looking at the... Let me go get a flashlight. Alright, here we are. We're all done here. Okay, guitar's tuned up to pitch. I got all my junk all over the freaking table. But electronics are clean. No more scritchy scratchy. That's all gone. The bridge is as low as it'll go. Still kinda wonky, but you know, that's what you expect. When I pulled the neck out, I ID'd the serial number, found out this thing was made in 2003, so not bad for a 17-year-old guitar. That's 17, 20, 12-year-old, excuse me. 12-year-old guitar. Assembled in Korea, by the way. So, interesting factoid. But we got everything cleaned up. All those nasty highway outlaw stickers are gone, and we got the body all waxed up. The majority of the scratches disappeared when I used their car wax, but yeah, we got a couple dings in it here and there, but you know, that's not too bad at all. So we'll get around to the neck here. There was a crack in the paint, so when I lifted the neck up, it pulled up, so we got a little bit of touching up to do with some enamel paint or something, but we got the neck set down lower and straighter than it was. That's a lot better than it was. Pretty much just pulled the neck off, sanded. The angle goes about, now the whole neck was straight. It's the body goes up, so that's what bends the neck down. So I don't know if they're supposed to have it that way or what, but we got it all straightened out as much as we could. I left just a little tiny bit of angle in there just for to avoid the fret buzz as much as possible. The pickups, we got, humbuckers, we got them adjusted up. I pulled this up a little bit just to get it closer to the strings, and this one up quite a little bit, but not too far where it looks ridiculous. But yeah, so after working on this thing, I found out that the dingus who had this before had pulled up the bridge so high because it was getting fret buzz up in here, right about along the 3rd fret. You can kind of see it was worn out there a little bit, but we got that cleaned up as much as we could. So, with the neck set down lower, the bridge set down lower, was still getting a little tiny bit of fret buzz up in here when it was tuned into drop C. But if you're going that low, then you gotta throw heavier gauge strings on. We got it tuned up to pitch to standard, and so here we go. There. All right, it's tuned up to pitch. The fret buzz went away. But yeah. So the only thing I did not do was adjust the truss rod. Now that would be the next step. If we were going down to drop D or drop C, probably want to tune it a little bit, make it ever so banana shaped, just very, very tiny amount, but in standard tuning it's just fine where it is. No buzzing there. So moral of the story, folks, if you're getting fret buzz, what a lot of people do is the first thing they check is the saddles, or on a Fender style or like a Gibson style guitar. On this one, they just pulled the whole thing up to get rid of the fret buzz, and although it was working, that does not mean that it was correct. So
Like I said, everything's done here, standard tuning, just as low as we got the bridge. If we really wanted to go the extra mile, probably would have resurfaced the body, gave it a new paint job, and etc. But, you know, it's got little chips and dings in it that, you know, it's a 12-year-old guitar. I like to have things that have shown a little bit of use. So, that way you don't have your brand new shiny guitar and it looks like you never play it. So it looks like it's gotten some use out of it, which is, that's my preference. But we got the fretboard oiled up and cleaned with the lemon oil. You can use the lemon oil on the fretboards, on the rosewood fretboards. On the maple, they're kind of sealed. It's a different type. You don't really have to worry about the maple too much, but on this fretboard here, this is rosewood, and you can just use the lemon oil. It's really just kind of a lemon-scented mineral oil, but it's still good. So strings are all tuned up. It was playing very well. I don't know what else to say, but we're done here. So this was only gonna be a couple hours worth of work, but it's nighttime now because I was gonna go buy some cleaner stuff, but I already had some. I just wanted to show you. I got the stickers off and all the adhesive pulled up and everything. The finish here, I'm just giving it a little bit of. Here's what I did. Is I cleaned up all the dingus's grubby fingerprints with the 409. It's got the lemon fresh. I don't know if it's got the lemon oil in it or what, but I use it because it cuts tough through grease and grime. So, when you buy a used guitar, you never know what you're going to get. So, I also cleaned up the neck with it a little bit. But then again, you can put the lemon oil on the rosewood, and that's fine. We got the headstock all cleaned up. The nuts are all, or the nut there is shiny, kind of as good as it's going to get. You can use a toothbrush to get into the little grooves in the nut. And the tuners, of course, we just made sure that, and I'm going to get to restringing it in just a little bit, but you want to make sure that your holes are all facing, you can see through all of the holes. You want them facing parallel with the neck when you're about to restring. So, yep, everything's all tidy so far. So, like I said, I'm getting the body up and shiny. I use this here cleaner wax. This stuff is expensive as hell. I got this off of a buddy, but been using this stuff on motorcycles for a few years now, and just don't spray it directly on the body. I just spray it on this little microfiber cloth. So some of you might say, "Oh, you're using the wrong stuff on that. You're gonna ruin your guitar." It's like, look, it's already got a nice Sharpie paint job, so I'm not complaining. I've been using this stuff for years, so I approve of this. Like I said, you don't want to spray this on. It's got a little marble in there. You can shake it up, and it's good stuff, but it's like $20 a can for that. So I spray it on my cloth here. I give it a good rub and buff, get all of the fingerprints and everything like that. And as a cleaner wax, of course, it's not going to get out all of the little scratches and everything, but who cares? I don't. I'm not like reselling this for profit or anything, so I'm just, when it's done, it'll just be a little kick around guitar to mess around on every once in a while. So, alright, well, we got the wax and the microfiber cloth, so If you wanted to go one step further, you could use like maybe at least a few thousand grit sandpaper. I'd probably say about 2,000 grit sandpaper. You'd pull up the knobs, pull the knobs out, pull the humbuckers off. Give it a good sanding of 2,000 grit sandpaper, and then you can go back over that with actual wax, like a car wax or something. It's just paint, people. Don't freaking have to worship your guitars like some people do with their Gibsons. Alrighty, so this $100 guitar here, I'm just gonna get over with. This is like a microfiber. It's really hard to see because of the light, but this was an Under Armour shirt. It's just an old one that I don't use anymore, and I use this as it's like kind of the same material that you get when you buy sunglasses. They give you those little microfiber gizmos, and I just give it a good rub down after, just to get all the little fingerprints that you just put when you used the cleaner and everything like that. So it just gives it a nice even shine. Like I said, I'm not too concerned about this freaking thing. So, alright, we can put the bridge back on. And speaking of which, we got this all cleaned up, and there's a little bit of damage on one of these, on one of the saddles here. This one here, that one had it's got a little chip in it, right barely off the top, but of course the camera's not going to focus in on it, but just a little, it's enough where it's not going to hurt the strings. If your saddles are chipped, then you can obviously file them down a little bit and be on your merry way, because you don't want to be cutting your high E string, and but that's why I saved the old strings. But we can leave this as is. Looking on the internet, trying to find what the factory intonation is and what the hell to set this thing at, returned no results. So I guess we'll have to see. But everything seems to be fairly correct. It's not gonna. I'm not working on a Gibson or a Fender here, so I'm not gonna worry too much about factory specs. But I'm just gonna throw this on, restring it. We'll get it to tune, and then we'll see how this restoration went. I was gonna show you how much crap came off of the neck when I was cleaning it, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. You can kind of see from the light that, and then this hasn't been oiled just yet. I'm getting just to that, but this is, you can kind of see off of the glare where the wear is into the fretboard, because I bet no human being has ever dressed the frets nor lubricated the rosewood with any kind of oils, except their oils from their fingers. The dingus had grubby fingers, I guess. Well, so do I, but alright, so we're gonna throw this back together and set everything correct, and we'll see how she plays. Alright, here we're at the tuners. I wanted to show you, there's two things that hold the tuners on. You got these here. Dingus got a little too excited and stripped the heads on all of the little screws that hold the tuners on the back there. I thought they were torque screws, but they're Phillips heads, and they're all stripped. So these have nuts on the top. These are what hold the tension, so your tuners don't, bend back and forth when you're putting tension on them or tuning them or what have you. So this is easy I got my shit pliers here, my needle nose ones that they broken off, but just as an example, you'll tighten these or loosen them, or these little nuts here. That's what you're. Preferably, you should use a socket and just put the socket on there. But yeah, don't tighten these up thinking that they're gonna prevent your tuners from shifting, because they're not. All right, here we'll set it like this. The humbuckers are designed in a way where they're angled downward, and you look at the rear one, it's even bigger, so you can tell that there's a diagonal, there's some sort of hidden angle there. Now the tops of the humbuckers are straight, and then you go down and then you see that angle there, that invisible angle, which leads me to believe that these things are designed to look like they have shit necks, but maybe they're supposed to be that way, because what I'm thinking is that if the neck and the humbuckers and the bridge are straight, then the body must be designed at an angle like that. So the body comes down. It's just everything is straight where it's supposed to be, but the body is designed in a way where it's, you got your neck straight and then the body just comes down ever so slightly. But somehow they figured out how to make it work, and it's just fooling everybody. But what I've come to find is that the neck is still pretty fucked up. If you look at you can see it still goes down like that. So while there is a little bit of give to it, it still should not be that much. So we still have to get this frickin' thing off.